The lecture hall fell silent as Commander Vartik entered, his scarred carapace catching the purple light of dawn streaming through the crystalline windows. The young Kesthari cadets straightened instinctively, their cerebral ridges flushing with respect. Or perhaps fear. Good. Fear would serve them well in today's lesson. Vartik's auxiliary arms twitched slightly as he accessed the neural interface, bringing up the course designation on the holographic display: Human Studies, Mandatory First Cycle. Already he could sense the subtle shifts of derision among his students. Their secondary hearts betrayed their contempt with irregular beats that his enhanced hearing easily detected. "You find this amusing?" he asked, his voice carrying the gravelly undertone of one who had breathed vacuum without protection. "You sit there, proud descendants of the warrior clades, and dare to dismiss the study of humanity as beneath you?" A brave or foolish cadet near the front raised her primary right arm, the gesture sharp and confident. "Commander, with respect, we are Kesthari. We were engineered for perfection by the precursors themselves. These humans, they are unmodified primitives who barely left their gravity well 10 centuries ago." Vartik felt his thermal plates grow cold with memory. Perfection. He spat the word like a broken tooth. "Let me tell you about perfection, young one. I commanded the 7th Extermination Fleet at the Battle of Kilaru. 50 ships of the line, each crewed by the finest warriors our species could produce. We had never known defeat in 50,000 years of warfare." He activated his neural link again, and the holographic display shifted to show a massive Kesthari dreadnought, nearly 20 kilometers of crystalline armor and gravitational weaponry. "This was my flagship, the pride of evolution. The most powerful vessel ever constructed by our species." He paused, letting his inner eyelids flutter in remembered pain. "A single human ship destroyed it. A single ship, less than 1/10 our size." The lecture hall erupted in clicks and whistles of disbelief. Vartik waited for the noise to die down before continuing. "You don't believe me. Of course you don't. You were raised on stories of our greatness, of our genetic superiority. Let me tell you what they don't teach in your combat creches. How many generations?" The hologram shifted again, showing the ancient genetic laboratories where the precursors had first shaped their perfect warriors. "Yes, we were engineered for war. The precursors gave us redundant organs, enhanced strength, regenerative capabilities, and tactical processing centers that can compute battlefield solutions faster than any computer. They made us immune to fear, immune to doubt. Another shift, and the hologram displayed a timeline of Kesthari military victories. For 50,000 years we were unstoppable. The hive minds of Arcturus fell before us. The silicon consciousness sued for peace at the mere sight of our fleets. When we arrived, worlds surrendered. The galaxy feared us, as they should." Vartik's auxiliary arms trembled slightly as he brought up the next image, a simple human in an atmospheric suit. "Then humanity emerged from their cradle world. We dismissed them, of course. Their bones break easily. Their skin tears like wet paper. They tire quickly and die from the slightest radiation exposure. They have no natural armor, no enhanced senses, no backup organs." He moved closer to the cadet who had spoken earlier. "Would you like to know what happened when we engaged that single human ship at Kilaru? They didn't flee. They didn't surrender. They laughed." His thermal plates grew colder still. I heard their transmission myself. They laughed and said, "Finally, a real challenge." Vartik's voice dropped to almost a whisper, forcing the cadets to lean forward. "We were engineered to be perfect warriors, yes, but the humans, they chose war. They weren't built for it. They weren't designed for it. They simply decided that they would become good at it, and through their own will, they did. The hologram showed the battle now, the massive Kazthari fleet surrounding the single human vessel. We had them surrounded. Our targeting computers had calculated zero probability of their survival. Then they did something that we, in all our perfection, had never considered. They flew their ship directly into a solar prominence. The cadets watched in horror as the human ship, its hull glowing white-hot, emerged from the stellar fire and split into 3 smaller vessels, a capability no one had detected. We had developed our tactics over 50 millennia of victory. The humans developed new ones in the middle of battle. But surely, the same cadet interrupted, her voice less certain now. Surely our superior numbers. Numbers? Vartik laughed bitterly. Let me show you what happened next. The hologram played the rest of the battle. The human ships, using the solar flares as cover, launched what appeared to be mining drones. The Kazthari fleet's perfect formation became a liability as the drones detonated, creating a cascade of gravitational waves that turned their own shields against them. In less than 6 hours, Vartik concluded, my entire fleet was destroyed. I survived only because a human medical ship, retrieved my escape pod. He faced the now silent classroom. They saved my life because, as their captain said, that's what humans do. They defeated us utterly, then showed us mercy we would never have granted them. Vartik shut down the hologram, leaving the room in the purple light of dawn once more. You are here to learn about humans because they are the most dangerous species in the galaxy, not because they are stronger or faster or more advanced. They are dangerous because they are capable of anything. There is no tactic they won't try, no option they won't consider, no sacrifice they won't make if victory demands it. He looked at each student in turn. The galaxy fears us because we were engineered to be living weapons. We fear humans because they chose to become something even more terrifying. They chose to be survivors at any cost. The classroom remained silent as the first sun climbed higher in the sky. Finally, the cadet who had spoken raised her arm again, this time with far less certainty. Commander. What happened after Kilaru? Vartik's thermal plates went cold one final time. That, young one, is what we'll discuss in our next lesson, and perhaps then you'll understand why this course is mandatory. The second sun had risen by the time the cadets filed back into the lecture hall. Vartik noted their changed demeanor. Gone was the prideful swagger of young Kazthari warriors. Instead, they moved with the cautious attention of prey animals. All except one. Commander, the same cadet from yesterday, spoke up, her voice carrying a desperate edge of denial. I've been studying our historical records. Surely the Battle of Kilaru was an anomaly. Our defeat there must have been due to unusual circumstances. Vartik's thermal plates shifted to a thoughtful blue. Tell me, what is the difference between a Kazthari warrior and a human soldier? Our superiority is obvious, she replied, but with less certainty than the day before. We are stronger, faster, more durable. It's hard to beat the best, Cap said fiercely. We just haven't proven it yet. No, Vartik interrupted. The difference is that when we fail, we consider it an impossibility. When humans fail, they consider it data. He activated the holographic display, showing a string of battles. After Kilaru, we thought we understood humans. We adapted our tactics, developed countermeasures, prepared for their unconventional warfare. The display showed a massive space station, bristling with weapons. This is Outpost Sigma 9. We built it specifically to counter human tactics, incorporating every lesson from Kilaru. Its defenses could track quantum fluctuations. Its shields could withstand stellar temperatures. Its weapons could target ships through dimensional shifts. He paused, letting his inner eyelids flutter. The humans destroyed it with a mining freighter. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the classroom. How? Several cadets asked simultaneously. Did you feel it? Stephen said. I did, but I don't think I was ever horrifically hurt. They loaded it with bacterial cultures from their homeworld's deepest oceans, organisms that eat through metal. Vartek's auxiliary arms twitched. They dispersed them through our ventilation systems. Within days, the station's structural integrity was compromised. We had prepared for every weapon we could imagine. But they didn't use weapons. They used life itself as a tool of war. The hologram shifted to show a series of human faces. You see, humans don't think like us. We were engineered to be perfect, so we seek perfect solutions. Humans embrace chaos. They celebrate it. When faced with superior numbers, they don't try to match them. They change the rules of engagement entirely. A new image appeared, a human child's drawing of a battle, crude and colorful. They teach their young about their defeats with the same pride as their victories. Every loss is a lesson. Every failure is a future victory. They have a saying, we learn more from losing than winning. What species thinks like that? Bartek moved to the center of the room, his scarred carapace casting strange shadows. But the true terror of humanity wasn't revealed until the Battle of Three Suns. Who can tell me about it? Silence fell over the classroom. Finally, a cadet in the back spoke, their voice barely a whisper. The battle is classified above student access, Commander. Exo reached out slowly. No, that doesn't make any sense given the way our data structure is set up. Yes, Vartek nodded, because what happened there fundamentally changed how our species views warfare and ourselves. His thermal plates shifted to deep purple, indicating severe emotional distress. We had developed a perfect strategy based on all previous human encounters. We positioned our fleets in a tetrahedral formation around their colony. Our numbers were overwhelming, 3,000 ships to their 40. The hologram displayed the initial battle formation. We waited for their desperate tactics, their chaos, their biological weapons. We were prepared for everything. Vartek's voice grew hoarse. Instead, they surrendered. Confused clicks echoed through the classroom. But that's good, isn't it? Asked a cadet. We thought so. We moved in to accept their surrender. Vartek's auxiliary arms began to tremble. That's when we discovered that they had evacuated their entire colony months before. The 40 ships were automated. And while we were distracted, the actual human fleet had been positioning gravity manipulators around all 3 suns of the system. The hologram showed what happened next. The 3 stars, perfectly aligned, began to pulse in sequence. They created a gravitational resonance cascade. The stars themselves became weapons. 2.8 million Kesthari warriors died in less than an hour. Bartek shut down the hologram. But that wasn't what broke us. No, what truly shattered our understanding of humanity was what they did next. He pulled up a final image, a human memorial. They built this monument, listing every Kesthari name, every ship, every warrior lost that day. They honor their enemies as they honor their own dead, because to them, all life has value, even the lives of those who would destroy them. He turned to face the class directly. That is why we fear humans, not because they defeat us, but because they understand us better than we understand ourselves. They know that our perfect engineering is our greatest weakness. We cannot adapt as they do. We cannot imagine the impossible as they do. The cadet who had started this discussion raised her arm one final time. "Commander, what do we do? How do we fight such creatures?" "We don't," Vartik said simply. "That's the lesson. The humans offered us peace after 3 suns, not because they feared us, but because they respected us. They saw worth in our civilization beyond our capacity for warfare." His thermal plates shifted to a calm green. "We accept that peace. We learn from them. And most importantly, we remember, the galaxy fears us because we were built for war. But we fear humans because they built themselves into whatever they need to be." The classroom was silent for a long moment before a cadet asked, "Is that why this course is mandatory?" "No," Vartik replied. "This course is mandatory because humanity is still evolving, still changing. And if they ever decide that peace with us is no longer beneficial," he let the thought hang in the air. "Class dismissed." Class dismissed. As the cadets filed out, their thermal plates all shifting through various shades of fear and awe, Vartik reflected on the human captain who had saved his life at Kilaru. She had told him something that he had only now begun to truly understand. The most dangerous thing in the universe isn't a perfect warrior. It's a being that refuses to accept the impossible as a limit. The 3rd sun rose, bathing the empty classroom in blood-red light, and Vartik wondered, not for the first time, what humanity would evolve into next. Thank you so much for listening to this story. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. If you did, please be sure to give it a like. Feel free to comment and share this story too. It helps the channel grow. Let's make this channel huge together.